You beautiful creations of the universe. Hi, it's Una here. Today I have with me a Susan Astley. She is a spiritual consultant, author, and a healer. And we are going to talk about the physical and spiritual evolution that is happening right now. Welcome, Susan.
Thanks, Una. You got it right.
Yeah, I got it right. And today we've been talking about what's happening in this moment, the physical and spiritual evolution.
Yeah, and we were saying that people are losing their minds, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of physical things are happening to people as well. But the losing of the mind seems to be a very common one.
It is.
But it really is about letting go of the mind and going into the heart and allowing the mind to be in service to the heart. Because, you know, when you get inspired to do something, if you start thinking about it, you'll talk yourself out of it.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
But if you actually follow your heart, your mind, what does your mind do? Your brain is just an organ, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the heart and the lungs.
Yeah.
So its job is to solve problems and to store information.
Yeah.
So therefore, if it's in service to the heart, it knows exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to be. That's the fascinating thing about it.
But we talk ourselves out of it because that's a habit, how we were brought up or how we have been before.
Exactly. So if we can just go into our heart, and the way that I do it is I basically close my eyes, I take my breath, my eyes, my awareness to my heart, physical heart, and I place my hand on my heart and I say hello. And if my mind's really overactive, I hum, because when you hum, you can't think. Right? So if you want a mantra, hum. So I just put my hands on my heart and I hum. I hum into my heart. And then after a minute, I just relax and I say, hello, how are you? And I just go into peace. That's all you need to do to activate that vortex of the heart.
That's why I got this rock here. I saw it as a vision. I was listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer reading a book, Beyond Blue, something. And I thought, how can I always remember this? And how can I just have something reminder and to be brave? And I saw this and I went and had it done and every time I start self-doubting and like you were saying, talking myself out of it, I have this around my neck and it's like going like this. And I'm like, oh yeah, you need to do this. You just need to do it. Just jump.
And you have to act on it because a lot of people, you know, they think if they just think about it, it'll happen, but it won't.
No, it won't.
And it won't. You have to actually action it.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that is when you take one step, the universe takes two and helps you. That's the beautiful thing.
Well, that's a big comfort to hear.
It is, yeah. So if your calling is to do videos and to support people in their growth and you action it, the universe will make sure you get an audience.
Well, I so hope that I can help people like myself with this. So how do you do it? How do you do, like we were talking about earlier, how do you connect? How do you we were talking about, before we had the break.
Well, we were talking about all the different dimensions and then going into the fifth.
Yes,
and that was the unity consciousness. Yeah, you have to let go of judgment. That's a big one because we're constantly judging things. There's a different thing between judging something and having an opinion on it. You know, right?
Yeah.
So you have to let go of judging. You just have to accept. So say, for instance, you've got someone in your life that forever is late and it's really annoying you and you think it's your job to teach them the lesson to be there on time. Well, that's actually trying to control the person and you're basically judging the person, right? But if you can accept they're always late and you can remain friends with them under that, then it's good. Then you're sort of taking a step up, you know? Like I have people in my life that that do some really weird things because we're a weird group, you know, but I really accept them for who they are. And I think, well, if I want to be friends with this person, I have to accept that's what they do. That's the way that they behave. The same with your partner. If you're in a relationship with someone, you can't try to change them. You just have to accept that that's what they do. And if you can't accept it, then you can't be around them. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like I can go to my partner and say, it really disturbs me when you leave your stuff laying around and expect me to pick it up. Yeah. You know, and he's actually said to me, well, it doesn't disturb me. Right? I say, yeah, okay. However, aren't you interested in the way that I feel? Isn't that important to you? Yeah. You know? So what happens is it makes me feel good when everything's in order. Yeah. Then I can be calm and I can be relaxed and I can, you know, receive more from spirit. But when I have to have everything in chaos, I can't. No, I'm the same thing. So that's what's important to me, and then he needs to accept that. Right? I say to my girls, you can have mass in your bedroom, but this area here and in there, I don't want to see stuff. Yeah. Because that's just, I need to feel, when you come home, if there is things in the sink or stuff like that, you just don't feel so welcome. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you think, I'm going home and there will be mess there, and I'm like, oh. And the first thing you've got to do is clean it up. Yes. Yeah. So I think the best thing is just to accept. Yeah. To accept everything. Like I recently had a lot of stuff going on around the pain of women. And that's been a big thing in my life, you know. And there was, for a very long time, I just could not accept certain things. Couldn't accept it. Yeah. And I can't accept some of the things that have happened to young girls or women on this planet. Yeah. I find it extremely hard. Yeah. And only recently, do you know when we had, I think it was the New Year, you know, it was quite peaceful, but Australia Day was really peaceful. Did you notice that? The energy was really calm. Yeah, I actually enjoyed Australian Day tremendously. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes, well, there was a big shift in energy on Australia Day. Yeah. And the girls were saying that. Did you notice it? Yeah. They were like, it's amazing. This is such a good day. It was so peaceful, and it was actually, there was a lot of planets aligning and Mercury went direct. There was a few things happening, but energetically there was also a lot of solar flares or photonic waves, if you like. A lot of light was coming onto the planet. And my heart actually opened on Australia Day. I had a profound experience, and it kept humming and buzzing for days afterwards. And that was when I actually let go of the pain that I have had all my life around what happens to women. And I stopped, and I realized that as long as I'm in resistance to something, I'm in the game. I'm contributing to it. Yeah. And I have a very strong energy. And I was taught a long time ago, Susan, you have to be responsible for your anger. And if you come in here angry, this is when I would go into up to my altar, you know. If you come here angry, you will not be allowed in here. You have to let go of it, because when I get angry, right, and I project that onto someone, it's not pretty. No, I'm the same. Right? I'm the same. It's not pretty. And I had to learn very young in life that I had to be responsible for where I was placing my energy. That's why I won't put another woman down. Because I figure she's got enough knives in her back every day anyway about the way she feels about herself. Yeah, of course. Why would I put another one in her soul? Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I'll always try and find something beautiful about that person. I also actually just stopped watching news. And best thing you can do. My husband says that I live sometimes in my own little world. But that's the thing. I wasn't able to watch the news and all the sad things in the world, knowing that I couldn't do much about it. But now, you can. Now I'm trying
to spread the love, like have the light and love. That's what I...
Exactly, and that's what we can do. And that's what I discovered really strongly was, if wherever I place my energy, it magnifies it. So if I actually place my energy on loving women, then won't they open up and start loving each other, and won't men start loving them and treating them differently? So that was the big shift in me. And I truly believe that we are the foundation of that fifth dimensional reality, and we're creating the physical reality, the emotional reality, all those dimensions. We're creating those planes of existence within the fifth. So you and I having this conversation, we're creating a little roadmap of a fifth dimensional energy for other people to come into and go, yeah, I really feel that. I really believe it, you know? And so they can join with us to co-create at any time, because time is very flexible. So even if someone listened to this conversation 5 years from now, they're here right now, and they're hooking into that energy.
So how long do you think, and how many generations it will be until we live in harmony and peace? And
that's a really good question. My guides tell me 2026 is a really important year, because I feel that's when the fifth dimension will be really grounded in the physical here, and many people will be living within that reality. You see it in businesses now. A lot of businesses are giving to charities. They're actually co-creating with their employees, giving them a percentage of what they're making, instead of that slave master. That's duality again. You know, we see duality is actually breaking up at the moment. And that's why there's all the conflict, because we're really seeing duality at its heightened, you know, and so I think that, but within that, we're also seeing these companies that are working with their employees. They're working with nature and the environment. They're really co-creating harmonious existences, and they're making money.
I just say to you people out there, just love one another. Be good. Be gentle. Just love. That's the light. That's the God within us. That's the God.
It is, but you know, I realized love was actually letting our vibration evolve. So that's that whole thing of acceptance. That some people aren't where you're at, and that's okay. They can actually come to it, and if they can't, you can let them go. You don't have to be part of their life.
No, I know that, but that's hard sometimes. That's really hard. I mean,
it is, but you know, we're talking about the inner circle of your life here. You know.
Yeah, but if the person is in the inner circle of the life, then it's always hard.
Well, I actually come across a lot of parents. Have come across a lot of parents, not so much at the moment. I go through stages with my work. A lot of parents who had teenage boys who were extremely violent. And I was constantly, and they were on drugs and alcohol and what have you, and I'd be constantly saying to the parents, hold the love for them. Hold that space of love for them, and trust that whatever you put into their life for the first 7 years, they will come through that, and they'll remember it at some point, and they'll go back into their heart. And every parent that held that child within that loving space and trusted that that child would go back into their heart, it happened. But it's the parents that, I've had parents say to me, I wish they'd get bashed up so that they would learn a lesson of what it feels like to have that anger around them. I say, please don't say that. You don't want to wish that on another soul, particularly your own child. And I can understand the frustration that people can get into when they've tried everything and the kid's on drugs. But you still have to hold the love for that person.
Somebody said to me, asked me, do you know where hell is? And I'm like,
well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, and then he said, hell and heaven, it's here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes. It's what you think. It's how you think that creates your hell on earth or your heaven on earth. That's what he said.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've certainly created heaven for myself here on earth.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
On the way.
I'm very happy, you know.
On the way.
I'm really happy with my life. But it wasn't always like that.
No.
Yeah.
I feel for me, the affirmations are the beginning, and it has worked.
Mm-hmm.
Changing the habit of your thinking from negativity to positivity, and that has helped.
Well, really what you're doing is holding yourself accountable for your life.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, self-responsibility.
Yeah.
You're holding yourself accountable for what you're creating because reality follows thought.
Yeah, I want to create love and happiness and just peace. That's what I want.
Yeah. So if you and I and everyone else says we've created a reality where young girls and women can walk down the street without fear and be safe, and they're considered equals in their workplace, they can contribute to society, to politics, to government, then that's what we're going to create.
I used to do some speech or I used to learn about talking in front of women. And when
public speaking.
Yeah, well, I didn't do much of it, but when it was a group of women, and when I walked in there for the first time, all of them looked business-like and all of that, and I was the youngest there. And
I intimidated.
Yes! And I was like, what am I doing here? I don't know what they know. But in the end, I ended being talking and being just the same as them. And that's where I learned that we are all the same. Even though you have smart suits on or whatever, they are, like you said, self-doubting themselves, and they have issues and shyness. That's where I learned that I am equal to all women. That I'm not less or more stupider or anything like that.
No. And I suppose the other thing is, as a mother, you know, the first time you gave birth, that connection that you have with all women, you know, that happens. We're all linked.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, because that unity, that's another thing that's happening. I've noticed a lot of people are waking up with sadness and depression and heaviness and anxiety.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a lot of people have got anxiety lately?
I woke up the other day with a little sadness and I was
you
like,
know what that
wrong?
is? I'll tell you what that is. It's fabulous. You know, it's a really good sign. And I know that a lot of people go, oh my God, I'm losing my brain and I've got sadness, you know, and anxiety. Well, actually, I see it as a wonderful thing, because I think when you're losing your brain, that means you're going into celestial mind and you're starting to think with your heart. You're starting to be guided with your heart, because you don't need the brain to hold on to everything and to control everything. And then when you start to get that anxiety and that sadness and everything, that's when you start to realize you're becoming one with unity consciousness. So actually the anxiety and everything that you're feeling isn't yours.
It can come from somewhere else.
That's right. It's not yours. And it's, if you look at let's look at collective consciousness. So every single dimension has planes of existence within it, right? So those planes of existence represent something. So we'll look at the third and the fourth dimension, because they're the biggest dimensions on the planet. And so there's a plane of existence of anger, pain, happiness, joy. You know, they're like radio waves that travel through the air, and we kind of hook into them. Creativity, dance, you know, the media, religion, all of these things exist. And at some point, a group of people got together and said, we all believe in this, and that created a collective consciousness, and it grew from that. So if you're moving into the fifth, you have to go through the third and the fourth. You have to. You can't jump. So you've got to understand what duality is. You can't understand duality if you're hiding in your house.
No.
Right? If you're just ignoring everything and blacking out, you can't understand it. It doesn't mean you have to submerge yourself into the murky parts of pain and agony. And a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Right? But
You need to keep a little distance.
You need to accept it. That's the whole thing. Like I notice when someone has come to me and they've had a tremendous trauma, the way to get them to heal is to accept that the trauma happened. Because most people won't accept it. Why did that happen to me is the first question. Why did God let that happen to me?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not accepting this because I'm looking outside of myself to find why it happened. You just have to accept it. There is no why. So if
also what I feel is that you just it's put there so you can learn, so you can grow, and you can learn something.
in some circumstances.
I know,
look,
like losing
actually,
people and things like that. It can be
that's
really
incredibly painful.
But like me, I am stronger now, even though my closest family has died. But I feel those stronger, and I feel the strength within me.
But they're around you and they're helping you with your awakening.
Yes.
So that's why you're okay with it to some degree.
Yes. Can you explain like what you do, this being spiritual
consultant?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm normally the person people come to when they've exhausted every other field. So they'll come to me with an illness they can't get rid of. They'll come to me with a problem in a relationship, or they feel stuck, they don't know where they're headed in life. They're at a crossroads, or they're having some sort of, spiritual awakening and they're really afraid. And that's what they'll come to me for. Or even if they've got something going on in the house. I do a lot of work on houses. But I don't do it from your normal, just, a bit of sage and things like that. I look at the geopathic lines under the house, and that's how the earth moves under the house. And those lines cross every metre. They're electromagnetic lines. I look at the Hartmann and the Curry lines, which have to do with your electrical circuit of your home. And I look at negative intentions that can be from neighbours or the person who built the home, or, someone who drives past every day and hates your guts.
Yes.
And I also look at entities and vortexes.
What's that, entity?
So entities are people who've passed over and they've remained in the house. And also in a lot of places, depending on where it is, like you get a lot of Aboriginal things going on here in Australia. Those I wouldn't necessarily remove. I'd ask them to work with the people in the house and ask permission to be there.
Yes.
Because they are the guardians of this country. So it's kind of interesting.
Well,
that's what I do. It's a long thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I, and I do life readings. So I read people what their journey is here, what their mission is, what they've come here to do. That's always a big one as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming
You're
here,
very welcome,
being with us.
Una.
We talked much longer than
Then you thought, I'm a good talker. But you've got a lot of spirit around you helping you, So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but it has been a really good talk.
Thank you very much, Una.
We hope you have enjoyed our talk today as much as we have. Look out for the next episode. Hope to see you here. Namaste.